I mean, I don't think it's possible to really understand and address the complexities of the world we live in without systems thinking. At a certain scale and complexity of human society, I think it's possible to have a kind of piecemeal perception of the world. But once we reach a certain scale, and I think that there's evidence all around us, not just in environmental crises, but political crises, public health crises, that we've exhausted the possibilities of piecemeal perception. And the way forward is about how do we grasp the whole and how do we act in the whole. And ultimately, that's the language of systems thinking. Can New Zealand change the way its economy operates? I mean, I guess there's two answers to that question. I mean, from one perspective, yes, absolutely. And you see, not only in this country, but in many countries around the world, different approaches being taken to environmental crises and how do we respond to them. But on the other hand, so many of the challenges that we face in the modern world, these are global challenges. And so one country acting on its own can't always affect the difference that it wants within its borders. And that's part of the complexity, part of the systemic complexity that we also face in the world today as we really try to respond to some of these challenges. I think, and not just the Maori worldview, but indigenous worldviews more widely. I think we need to look at as a storehouse of understanding of how to be aware of the whole, how to be aware of the oneness, which through the last 2,000 years of European civilization, we've really been about segmenting, about dividing up, about making the part more significant than the whole. And we've been extremely successful in manipulating a concrete world with powers of rational thinking and planning and purpose. But now that we've reached this point of scale where it's our inability to conceive of the whole that is holding us back, that maybe is threatening our way of life, this is where we need to see indigenous knowledge as sort of the wellspring and the storehouse of, well, how do we act and be aware of the whole? And so I think it's integral. It's really part of the human task going forward, is how do we integrate more modern and more traditional ways of just understanding the reality we're living in.